SOS Podcast live around 8-ish p.m. Eastern Time. We got a dope guest today. I hope she enjoys the show. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Sending out the invites now. Let me know if you in the building, where you're from, who you is, what your name is. A guest here. Trying to bring you in. Come on, baby. Don't like you. Don't know you. Don't got no desire to know you. This man has mastered the art of staying incredibly still until he's almost invisible.
This vid do me in, brother.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, boy.
What happened?
What's going on?
Nah, I got the vid.
You got big.
Yeah,
Hello,
big
guest.
vid.
Damn.
Capital V.
Capital V. Hey, it's Breona, right?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear
Perfect.
you.
Yes.
Word. SOS Podcast. We are all on time, despite what the clock says.
Yeah,
Time's an
hey,
illusion
we
anyway.
on CP. Technically, we could have started an hour late.
Thank y'all for tuning in. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all shout us out in the comments. Let us know where y'all tuning in from. This is the SOS Podcast. Every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. We pop on here and we interview dope people. Like, is it Breona? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're good.
Cool. Is it Breona? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's Breona. So a lot of people get it mixed up. They're always saying, well, it's Breona. And I'm like, close enough. It's fine. It's close enough. But yeah. I've given up. But yeah, you're about on top of it. Yeah.
Word. In the building, we got Tenzin. You know what I mean? The provocateur.
Hello there.
And we got... you want to say that?
I wouldn't say that.
Not even a little bit?
No.
You be having some provocative perspective sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, but they be obvious though.
We got B in the building, you know what I mean?
What up?
Fresh off of IR. And so we got Breona Wilson, and we just want to introduce her to our network. And if you could please give us a rundown of who you are and what makes you tick.
What makes me tick up, bro? I'm trying to fix my volume because everyone's microphones are at different volumes. So I'm trying to figure out the volume here that works. Okay, so who I am, I'm Breona Wilson, obviously. So yay! What makes me tick? So I'm a fashion model, obviously. So that's just what I kind of do. But obviously, what makes me a little bit different is I'm a petite model, which makes me obviously a little bit stand out compared to all the tall women I work with. I'm a little bit of the short standard, but I kick ass. Though, so don't worry about that.
I thought petites were the norm.
What'd you say, Tenzin?
Oh no, I learned something new. I thought petite models were actually the norm. Like as far as
if you're obviously
if
you're not 5'8", then you're not tall, pretty. So that's where I'm at. I'm itty bitty. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's based on height.
So
too.
what type of box do they try to put you in typically?
So it kind of varies. So obviously that can vary from laundry work to swimwear. And so obviously people, do a lot of commercial stuff oh, be a girl at Walmart or Target. And after all that kind of gets boring because you're just okay, I'm like everybody else here. That gets boring very quickly. Mm-hmm. And so I've tried to branch out into the fashion world, obviously, and I've done some stuff with that. And so what's so interesting with doing that is it's very hard, obviously, because if you're not 5'8" or 6 foot to be these Victoria's Secret models, they don't want you. And so I think that's what's so unique about, what I am and who I am is that I'm breaking into that and I've been able to do big shows and stuff. And so I'm starting to kind of push that aside to where I'm showing people, you know, you don't have to be tall. You can do that. So that's just who I am, though. But yeah, I'm small. I'm itty bitty. I'm not as tall as I look.
How do you, in what ways do you break in? Like, what methods have you been using to, like, kind of set yourself apart?
So that's kind of like a longer story, so I'm gonna like not try and talk too much.
Well, we got half hour.
So you're good. And so what kind of set me apart really quickly is and it just all started with just when I joined an agency. I got discovered at 13, and so the agents were kind of hoping I'd get taller. And so they're like, oh, she'll get taller with time. It's okay. She's still cute. She's small. She'll get there. And so I was really, really worried about it. But actually what initially ended up happening is I come from a lot of family members who are in the military. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go in the military too. So that's what I was initially going to hop into. But then one day I was 12, 13, I got discovered by a Vogue model. And she saw me. And she said, you know, I really want your daughter to come to this casting. And my parents, obviously, back in the day, they're like, ain't no way in hell we're doing that. That's just sketchy. But she kept telling him, no, please bring her. Please bring her. Please bring her. And we want to see how she does at this modeling casting. And so I went, and my parents obviously thought it was going to be like this huge scam, obviously. But I got there, there was a whole team of people. I mean, designer, they were all sitting there waiting for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like legit. This is scary. And so I went, and it's this whole big thing now. And so that's so different as being in Utah with the census number that came out in 2001 or 21. 21, so last year. It is 98.1 white. So, and it's 1.2% black. So I am the only black person anywhere. So, which really works for me because people want ethnicity and they can't find it. It's a lot of blondes here. And so I actually think that's how I broke into it. Is very clearly they said, well, you're not tall, but we don't have any ethnic girls. Like we just don't have it. And so they started giving it to me. So I remember my very first big break is I got to do Utah Fashion Week. That got created probably 5 years ago. And in those 5 years, it's kind of scaled up from one agency to a different agency. And I'm slowly kind of making up the scale now. And it's been really fun. So now, obviously, if some people have heard about it, I'm going to New York Fashion Week in February, which is super cool. And so I'm the first petite black woman to go from the state of Utah. And that is a very scary title to hold. So I don't want to mess that up. So it's a very different experience. I remember a couple years ago, especially when I initially started, because everyone was breaking out into it, And I think this is when my mindset of what kind of set me apart immediately is I did this casting with a couple of girls, because everyone's nervous and fidgeting in the casting room. We're all waiting for our turn. And I remember just kind of walking in there. I turned to the girl next to me and I said, what would be really cool, even though we're doing this casting. And I can't remember, it was like for some clothing company downtown. Like it was a pretty basic job at the time. It wasn't anything crazy. And I said, it'd be really cool. We all get to do, these little jobs for Walmart, little things here and there. I said, maybe it'd be really cool is if we could, really just break out of this place, just be like, not to show that tall girls can take over everything. Because, I feel like that's been, the last 102 years, it's been nothing but tall girls. And so I remember she looked at me and she said, petite girls can't do anything. That's impossible. And so she said, stick to Walmart jobs. That's what you're good for. And I sat out there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll show you. That's fine. Go ahead. I'll take my L. It's fine. And
Challenge accepted.
I remember after that casting, I wasn't really hurt about it. I remember I just kind of went home that night and I said, very clearly every girl in the room didn't get the job, which is fine. But they all said the same thing. They said, us petite girls can't do anything. We're good for basic little shoots here and there, but tall girls will be at the top at the end of the day. And that was super frustrating, but I looked at them all, I'm like, y'all are ignorant. Y'all are just ignorant. And so when I ended up jumping from one agency to another, and I kind of started scaling it. And so obviously I've been in some news articles, you know, for New York Weekly, things like that, for being a petite woman that's breaking out, and that's starting to set the example that it can be done. And so I feel like with that title that I have, especially with being the first Black petite woman,
Yeah.
you know, from the state of Utah to go to New York Fashion Week, that is a massive thing compared to girls that are 6 feet tall. So I feel like I am setting a very high bar,
Yeah.
but that's a lot of stress that comes with that. So that's what makes me tick. That was a big question. I told you I was going to answer that. It's a big question.
Any,
Yep.
hey,
You answered it
I
very
feel
thoroughly.
like we know you a lot better now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like you fighting for the civil rights of short women. You know what I mean?
I was about to say,
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I was
hard.
gonna say.
No, it's
we got
hard.
Black history and height history for real happening. Like she, no, I was just
Man,
saying, like, for you
go
to
ahead.
be like, you said the first Black petite woman going to New York Fashion Week, like, that's definitely dope. Like, no, that's great.
Anything you can disclose about the show at all?
Yes, I can't say a lot. I'm just happy to go. So I will be in New York. Also, I'll be in the Manhattan area from February 6th to the 12th. So I'm going to be all over New York, just in and out. Obviously, I'll be and I think New York City Fashion Week is those 4 days, is 9, 10, 11, and 12. But I'll be there obviously for the shows and stuff. And I'm nervous because it's a very hard title to hold, to be a girl like that. But to be able to do is, you know, it's a fun opportunity. And, you know, the only thing I can really disclose is it's going to be lit. I'm going to show my shit. So it don't even matter. So it's a big bar to hold. The only thing I can really tell people, and obviously leading up to New York Fashion Week, I'll start posting about it and telling people about it. And, you know, that there's going to be red carpet events. There's going to be celebrities there. And I've been the very rare exception to that. And I'm going to go and I'm going to be at that bar. And it kind of feels like it's like watching an actor, and, you know, they see, you know, leading up the years, they have these little roles here and there. And all of a sudden you kind of have this glimpse of, oh my gosh, like this might be my thing. You know, this might be my moment where this might be it. And I know last year, there was a lot of celebrities that attended. And so I was really nervous about it. And so I emailed the director. He's probably sick of me. I harassed him so bad at this point. I'm going to ruin that. I'm going to ruin it. I'm calling him constantly. He's probably getting sick of me. So I emailed him the other day and I said, listen, I'm really nervous. I said, I don't know what you expect me to do. I'm just going to go. And he said, and he's very honest. He said, listen, when you come to the show, dress like you mean it. Because there's going to be shows in between, and before that there's going to be red carpet events, and you're going to, at the end of the day, they didn't give me a date, but they said, you know, do your thing for the show, act like you own it. There's going to be a red carpet event, then there's going to be an after party with celebrities, and then you just network, you act like you know what you're doing. So that's a very hard bar to hold. And so, but I'm trying to represent, because that's what I'm good at. I mean, I'm biracial, obviously, but I don't act like I'm straight up telling you right now. I don't. I'm so sorry. I don't. I don't. And so it feels so weird, but yeah, it's, somebody kind of mentioned the other day, they're like, you know, we haven't really had a petite girl, you know, of that color to actually come do this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I mean, that's a high bar, you know, I gotta hold to. So that's about all I can say for the show. As I get closer, we can tell more stuff, but I'm holding it right now because I don't get any more in trouble, because this director's probably sick of my ass right now. I'm harassing him, calling him, and freaking out. So I'm just, no, I'm not gonna say something. I'm not gonna be Tom Holland right now. I'm not gonna say nothing I shouldn't be saying. So I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
That's a deep cut right there.
I know. It's like,
hey, anybody that want to ask Miss Breona any questions, make sure you use that question bubble, and we'll ask the questions for you. Don't let the show go past without asking your question. You know what I mean? You got anything for us, Tenzin?
No, I'm just blown away. Like, I always
Oh,
thought the height thing was just a man
Yeah.
problem. You know what I mean? But it's like, but hearing her was like, yeah, man, I get shit for being short. This is bullshit. But but I mean, but with like at least like taking photos. I mean, obviously
yeah.
camera magic can be used, but I guess like height matters like when you're actually like walking on the stage and stuff like that.
You cut out? Can you say that again?
Oh, sorry. Like, I guess like height matters
It
like when you're
it
like on
does.
the
Obviously, I
stage,
learned it from
like
Victoria's
playing the.
Secrets that height really matters because they want you to look tall and gorgeous and these gorgeous, giraffe legs. And not that I'm throwing shade at Taylor Swift because she got giraffe legs. I'm telling you right now, she does. And so that was always one thing that was always kind of worried me. And that's what kind of got really worrisome is that they thought I was gonna get taller. And so they said, "Oh, she'll get taller. She'll get taller." And my height kind of stopped at about 5'4.5". And they're like, "Oh, she almost made it." so it was good. I almost made it. That fashion model height. But I said,
I
screw
mean,
it. I was like, I don't need to be 5'10" to be gorgeous. I know what the hell I'm doing, so I don't worry about that no more. So.
So
yeah, and their investment
Oh
still paid off.
my
So I
gosh, I
mean,
see some of those messages. I know
just
who
in
some of
another
those
way.
people are.
okay.
Oh, hi. Yeah, hi. I see everybody. Okay, that's good
So
to know.
did you see the question?
What was the question? I can't see it.
I think it was asking whether you were born beautiful or grew into your looks.
Oh, yeah. I can't see these questions, man. I'm not good with technology. Was I born pretty? No. Y'all can't see. Like, I don't
Does
wear
anybody?
makeup, but it actually turns out, for everyone that's wondering, I had to get braces for the longest time. I had to have mouth surgery, and then I had to have a retainer almost an entire year before they'd even touch me.
That was me
So I had
too.
almost 8 teeth removed right before they ever put my braces on. And then I had to have my retainer. And so
God,
it took like 3 years just to have teeth for me. So no, I wasn't. I was born like Fiona, man. I'm still pretty.
dang, like what?
It just took some extra work, that's all.
Like what
Because
was
I
wrong
had
with the teeth? Like
too
why did they
many.
have to extract them? Like what?
Too many.
Too
I didn't
many.
even know that
God
could really
damn.
happen. I
Like
thought
Yeah,
that
like
was
and
just
rows
what
of
so
them.
people said.
Like
my teeth were good,
yeah,
but you
too
could see
many.
they were bulging forward because I had just too many growing in
Mhm.
behind. And so eventually they're like, "Yo, you got
Gross.
some teeth going." So
That's wild.
they did a mouth surgery, and the doctor came back over
Oh,
afterwards. I was so happy to have the surgery over with for my teeth. And he said, "I want you to know, well, backhand that, but so during the surgery, I get nauseous when I go to the dentist because of the gas. It makes me want to throw up." And so he said, "Well, we're gonna have to keep you awake for removing all the teeth. We're gonna keep you awake."
God
And
damn.
so he kept me awake. And I remember it felt like a jigsaw movie. I remember screaming my whole body. I think I
oh,
terrified every teenager that was in the waiting room. I felt so bad. And I remember what ended up happening is with the last tooth they were trying to get out is they broke it. And my whole face swelled because it got stuck.
oh.
And so they never were able to get out. So I have a spare tooth in my jaw somewhere that they couldn't get out. So
Well, there we go.
lone
The lone
survivor.
survivor.
Dog,
Yeah,
God damn.
wow.
it took 3 years to get my teeth. But
Jeez.
you know what? Modeling wise, it was worth all the agonizing pain. It took a minute. It was just a hell
Pain
of a
and
lot of
beauty.
pain.
God damn. Like if you were a
Oh,
spy, you can
Yeah.
definitely deal with the torture. God damn. Jeez. I can't imagine. Like I had teeth pulled like while I was away. Like for some reason they had to pull my two front teeth. That was painful,
yeah,
but you had to
I
get
did.
8.
Nah, that's crazy. I
Oh.
couldn't survive nothing like that shit. That's wild. They'd
Mm-mm.
have found me dead in there because I couldn't have done it.
You
Right.
went through something
Just
crazy, didn't you, though, B? Didn't you go through something
Yeah,
crazy?
nah, they didn't pull mine. So what happened was my joint, like you see, like here, mine was like sticking out, like my jaw, and so they had to bust my jaw and
Nah, bro.
like
I'm
I
all right
got
with
like
that. I'm fine.
I got technically I still got like titanium up like in here, and they had to like literally crack my jaw and like move it up. But they ain't, obviously I ain't do it while I
Oh,
was like. But like the best of thing for me
yeah.
was they low key lied to me. They said like the recovery was like 2 weeks, and so I went and got the surgery, and it like I had the prolonged thing like yours too. Like they planned out my whole joint. Like I had braces for like almost a year. They had to straighten my teeth, and then they like did the cracking of the jaw thing, and I had the surgery, and I'm like, okay, bet 2 weeks. Keep in mind, I'm in the hospital. You see my face now? Imagine it 3 times this, like blood everywhere, wrapped in this, the little joint, holding my
Hmm.
joint together. And then they was like, nah, I didn't say 2 months. I mean, no, I didn't say 2 weeks. I said 2 months, maybe three. I'm like, no, you didn't. You told me 2 weeks. And I was on a liquid diet for 2 weeks, like soup broth, like and stuff.
Oh,
Then I had to go to like mush foods. Yeah, bro, it was bad.
Yeah, that's how I felt after my teeth. Just this whole entire side was just
wow.
blue. You could just see that the tooth just
Uh,
ruined my face.
funny,
They had to
Oh,
reconstruction like the
gosh.
bionic woman. We can make her better.
Right.
we have the
Stronger.
technology.
So, like, how old were you? How old did
Oh,
you say
I
you was when you went through that?
was, I think 14 and a half.
Oh, okay. Wow. Middle school must have been
Yeah,
hell.
no,
Like, you had the
my
teeth going
mom
on.
always used
Like,
to call me Bucky from the Sandlot.
dang, you be your own people. I thought only your classmates were like, even your parents were like,
Talk
hey,
about
what's up,
starting
Buck?
from the bottom.
Like,
Now we here.
so,
Yeah, I remember when
Started
I
from
first,
the bottom, son.
yo,
yeah,
damn,
I remember
huh?
when I first, because I just saw how bad my face looked, and it was, my hair was all napped up from sleeping, so I couldn't sleep. I looked blue, and I was like, when someone had kicked my ass, and so she's like, "Oh, you look like Bucky from the Sandlot. You got your ass kicked." I'm just like, "Yeah, I love you too, Mom. It's okay. I love you too." Even though I did not need you to insult me like that. It's fine.
Right.
Nah,
Just a
nah.
bruise.
The
Like,
Your
pro
mom
hockey
sound like a
team,
savage.
the pro hockey team in our city, they was doing rounds in the hospital when I had my joint, and they thought like something legit happened to me. So I feel you on the bruising. Like they came in the hospital. I remember they said, "Oh my God, what happened?"
You know it's bad when a hockey player asks you what happened,
Bro,
right?
it was Sidney Crosby, bro. Sidney Crosby
right.
looked me dead in my eyes and thought I got like a hate crime put on
Shout out to Sidney Crosby.
You should
You
definitely
should
know
you should have
that
milked it,
situation.
bro. You should have been like,
me.
there's some neo-Nazis came to my house and they whooped my ass, and I tell you one thing. But I did not let them touch the dog. I saved it. A brave young soul saved this dog
So you
from
mentioned the
neo-Nazis.
hair a little bit. Oh, we lost B.
Ah, B, where'd
I'm sure he'll be
you
back.
go?
But it happens, man. That's SOS podcast. We just gotta keep rolling. But you mentioned the hair a little bit. I noticed, that's like very prominent in all your pictures. The fro is popping, and
Mm.
how much does that have to do with, like there might be some people that might say that that's just your look, but is there any purpose behind it?
There is. So obviously being, with in the state of Utah being the census of, 90 point, crazy amount, and only being 1.2% Black here is such a small ratio. So, that's only like, every, every other room, there's someone there. So it's a very small window. And I remember this white girl, and not to bring, not going to bring, I know my fans, I know, I can see you, Jordan. I know you're going to message me later about this. My fans gonna kick my ass for being racist.
Oh boy,
But I'm being honest because that's where it came from.
it's not racist when Black people say it.
Yo, that's cold. That's cold. So what ended up happening was
It's true.
this white girl, and I remember when I first kind of got into modeling, I was the always I was always the black girl, the only black girl in the room. I remember this casting once where all of these girls, you know, had their makeup done. We were all, you know, sitting and talking. And one of the girls leaned over and she said, her hair is not real. It's all fake. I was like, what? She said, and they all got quiet. They're like, you can't say that. And so she's like, no. She's like, can I touch it? And I was like, you need to stop. Like, oh, that's the dumbest stuff ever.
This is two sins in a row.
And so this kept going for like a whole year. Like the photographer even asked me, you know, a couple months later, I was a different photographer. And he's like, are those extensions? And I'm like, no, they're not. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, just every girl I shoot has extensions. He's like, I just assumed your hair was fake. And so I was just like, okay. Anyway, and so this pattern kept happening where girls kept asking, oh, your hair's fake. Yeah, at these photo shoots, your hair's fake. It's just fake. She's wearing a wig. It's fake. And so they're like, oh, I bet you don't, you know, it's probably really, you know, you're pretty much bald under there, I bet. And I was like, no, girl. I'm like, it's my hair.
Jesus Christ.
And so.
Yo, people in Mormon land got you fucked up.
If you shout out their Instagram right now, they could be canceled by tomorrow.
Seriously.
Right.
And so it was, I just remember after that, I was just like, you know, I was like very clearly, because I remember I had my hair braided for a photo shoot. And this designer wanted to add extensions, you know, to get the braids in and stuff. And obviously after that, I learned a very important lesson. And I said, I can't wear extensions anymore. And so, because all these girls were getting irritated, I refused to put these extensions in. And she was so irritated. Like, you know, I want you to put these in. I'm like, I'm not putting them in. And so she said, well, why aren't you going to put these in? And I learned from that. And I think I was probably 17. At that point, I said, you know, here's why I won't put them in. I said, because with it being 99 almost, being percent white here, I said, I will look like every other white girl here having ponytails. I will not do it. I said, for me to be able to stand out here and to do my job, I need to be natural. And my afro is what has made me stand out here. I will not put any more extensions in. And that was the end of it. And I've turned down several times to put wigs on and fake braids, and I don't do it anymore. Natural beauty for me is the thing that has made me stand out, and that's the thing I will run with.
Yeah.
Has that ever cost you any jobs, or did
they
just
suck it up?
And,
obviously, they're not happy about it. But once I usually explain, you know, oh look, you know, in the cast room, there's 100 blondes here. I'm the only one here that's got a different look going on you can use. And so very clearly, after a while, they're like, okay, and they're usually okay with it. It just, thank you. My hair is dope. I know, I can see it. My hair is good. But yeah, I all natural. That's the whole reason behind it, is I got so much crap for it for such a long time. And after I'm like, y'all are not learning anything. So how about we all just let it be free, and then you can learn. It's just, so that's how we do it now. But I've enjoyed it a lot during my photo shoots now. I've gotten a lot of messages since then, you know, that and people, or girls especially, and especially from the Black community, which is really nice. You know, they always tell me, oh, you know, we're always seeing a lot of girls wearing extensions or, you know, different things. And we just love to see that you are just totally embracing just with whatever hair you got and you're working with it. And so that's what I have. I enjoy who I am, and I love my hair, and that's what I'm working with. So even though my hair's a little fucked up.
So how many? I didn't notice, but like how many? So I guess like how many like Black models do you think are probably like being coerced into like wearing an extension, or maybe not coerced, but just think that they got to just because they're
constantly
not questioning it, you know?
I mean, that's the point of being a model in the modeling business. You're a mannequin. That's the whole point. People get to use you and dress you up. You're a doll. That's the whole point. And so I've met several girls that are all Black models, and they all wear wigs, hair extensions, and everything. I'm the only one that doesn't. And so it's fun to see, but at the same time, it's hard to watch because they all start, you know, getting the straight hair, and they look like every girl in the casting room at that point. They all have straight hair. And I'm like, okay, but then all the photos look the same because you have the same girl having the same look. There's nothing different here. And so I've learned to embrace it, and it's obviously gotten me very far with me just enjoying how I am and my height and everything. And so I think because of my height and the hair, just embracing just all of it has gotten me obviously to go to New York Fashion Week. I mean, it's getting me close to do what I want in my life. So no fakeness. No. Bad. That's straight up, don't do it.
She said, "Get that fake shit out of here."
Okay.
And well, it's sad too because there's been times at shoots and stuff, and it's a serious thing. I've been at shoots where they coax you to get plastic surgery. Like
What?
that's just how it is. I've had multiple times where like, oh, you need a nose job. Oh, you need bigger boobs. Oh, your hips needed and so they start.
I was gonna ask if they went after you, just because you're black. You know what I'm saying? Like go after the nose and stuff like that.
And it's sad, and you think it's funny, but then you start watching documentaries about it, and all this other stuff.
That body dysmorphia, man. That's gotta be,
about
gotta be big in
girls
that
are
industry.
starting to do all these crazy things to their face in the modeling industry, or in different stuff, and it's kind of scary. And at first, you don't really think it's a thing. And then you get involved and you're like, oh my gosh, there are people that want you to get surgery. They want you to put all this stuff in your hair. They want you to snort cocaine to make you skinny. Like there are some crazy people I've met. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, so how do you keep yourself grounded mentally? Like, with all that.
Not
like,
today, Satan. That's the only way I do it.
Like, do unhealthy things.
It's like, you touch me. No.
Mm.
No. The only way I keep myself sane is just from the beginning, I have to tell myself I am different. And because I'm different, I have to act different. So I don't participate the same way girls do. I don't do the same thing the other girls do. And I think because obviously it's gotten me very, very far, but it also has matured me from 13 having to be in the modeling industry. I don't want to do any of that. And so to keep myself grounded, I just have to tell myself all the time, you've come so far, don't fuck this up. You've come this far, don't fuck this up.
Remember the mission.
Now
There we go.
ask,
That's a good
I know you said there's not really, at least where you at, not really too many like other black models. But how many black people is like either behind the camera or like in the rooms where they making the castings? Like, what's the racial makeup?
I've never met one.
Never met one?
Oh, damn.
So New York should probably be a nice change of pace for you.
Yeah, New York will be fun. And then not long after that, I got accepted to Los Angeles Fashion Week at the end of March. So that's like 2 months where I'm doing these big shows. And it's going to be a fun environment for me. But yeah, that's so weird to be working here, but then traveling. And I see the difference of the industry. For girls that are there and the girls that are here, and it's so different how everyone is either white or Latino here, because that's just the big majority of everyone's just white or Latino, so you don't meet black people. And so when they came out with the census, and I was like, oh my gosh, 1.2 black, I'm screwed. And I remember looking. So I had went to church and I looked at my husband and I said, and I was so paranoid. After the census came out, I was so paranoid. And I looked at him, I said, if every white person here was a Ku Klux Klan, because I was the only black girl at church, I'd be dead. Ooh. I said, it's not even funny. And he just looked at me and said, you are paranoid. I'm like, I have the right to be paranoid. I'm the only black person in this building.
Yeah.
I got nobody
You're surrounded by You're looking for every emergency exit? Okay. If I stab him in the throat, I can get enough time to, just like
KKK, so you might be all right. They can't keep track of all the wives and everything.
But really, that's crazy. Like, aren't there Mormons like?
Oh, wait, my bad. I don't mean to tick nobody off. Forget I said that.
He said rice skin.
Rice skin. But damn, that's crazy. You would think they'd be allowed in the Klan, though, right? I mean,
I think it's the multiple wives thing.
But they kill black people. They're worried about multiple wives. Like,
I don't know. Ask them. I don't know.
I mean, they literally commit murder. put multiple lines. I drop a
This
line,
Mark
man.
Zuckerberg don't take us down. We about to get taken down.
I mean,
So what's like the end goal? Like because you see, I guess you come across a lot of models and stuff like that, and it's just like I always wonder well, I guess I'll equate it to this. Like when you're an athlete, you want to win a championship and get endorsements. When you're a rapper, you want to get the Grammys and stuff like that. Like, what's like the end goal for like modeling? Like, what's that thing where it's like, yes, I did it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And I think that's fantastic. What makes me different than other girls is all these tall girls I meet. They're like, oh, I like the money. I like being able to be feeling pretty and dressed up. I'm like, Kate, that's cool. Do that at home. You can do that at home to feel that nice. And for me, because I had someone else ask me that a while ago, they said, what's the end goal here? And I said, because I'm short, the end goal is to gain the title. That is the end goal.
mm-hmm.
And so to go to New York Fashion Week to show, I'm the first petite Black woman from Utah to be able to represent it shows that girls can do it. And then I can go to Los Angeles. And so to gain all of these really big shows and with really big titles with how tiny I am, walking alongside, girls that are, 6 foot, that's a really big end goal for me to say, you can do it. So in some kind of weird way, it's not even for me. It's to prove my point that it can be done. And so it's not about the money. It's not about the success of it. It's about, no, it can be done. No one else wants to do it because obviously every girl in here in Utah says it's not possible. So who's going to do it? I will do it.
have you ever had any other petite models like come to you and be like, yo, man, I saw your photo shoot the other day and I realized I can do it. So I went to the first casting agency and I got the job. Did you ever have anybody say
Yeah,
that
I
you
have.
personally
I've had a
inspired them or
couple girls
anything?
that have noticed me since I've been here,
Oh, wow.
which is freaky as hell.
Hey,
I've had a lot of girls that DM me and say, hey, turns out I'm living in your state. Can you come, or can I have a one-on-one? Can you come show me how to do it? And I've taught like 6, 7 girls now where I'll meet up with them and I'll talk them through it. And so it was a really awkward experience because I had one girl I was teaching. I went to a coffee shop with her. I sat her down. I wanted to see where the end goal was, what her motivation was as a model, and what she wanted to, do in life. And I taught her everything. And I shook her hand and I said, have a nice day. And so as I walked out, there was another Black girl, but obviously it's like a 1 in a million that ever happens. And she pointed at me. She's like, I know who you are. Holy God. And she started freaking out. All of her guy friends were with her. And they're like, who the hell is she? And it was so funny because the girl I was teaching was I looked at her and she was white as a ghost. And I had a really humbling moment. And I turned and I looked at her and I said, see, this is what happens to prove my point. When you put hard work in, people get the point. You get your point across. Mm-hmm. And it shows people are watching. And so there's always that phrase of, even in life, people are always watching. You are always auditioning. And so you almost have to always represent yourself, even at your day job, even if you're at home, you always have to act like as if you're always auditioning. And so I do. And so even in public, when I'm auditioning or when I bump into somebody, in person, a fan bumps into me or something. And that's happened a handful of times. But now I have this very rare experience. Now I know what celebrities are talking about, where you're so self-conscious when you go outside, what you look like, what you're dressed like, how you're going to act like when people want to take pictures with you. You're so self-conscious how you look now. And so I kind of do this most of the time. If y'all met me in person, I'm in sweats. And my murder t-shirt, I have a murder t-shirt and a Jason shirt I wear. Like I don't give a hell what I look like. So
a murder t-shirt. You heard it here, folks.
It's fun. And so there's been a lot of girls, even outside of Utah, I get DMs where, girls are like, how did you start? I want to start. Show me how you start because I want to do it. And so obviously with the following that I get so many, sometimes it can be really overwhelming with so many girls, especially little girls. And so With girls, I can help. With little girls, I do it a little bit differently because they're so young, and with how social media is, with how, you know, they can entice you to get plastic surgery and all this other stuff. You have to be very careful how you go about that. And so usually I teach girls differently, or I'll have a conversation with them differently, because the fear of, oh, you know, with adults, their brain is a little more matured. They know social media. They know how not to get into that. Kids are different. They're still young. And so I have to approach them totally different in how I go about things. But yeah, it's either break the rules or you make them. And so I remember just kind of this experience I had. I think it was like right after I got my braces off. It was like right after my braces. And I went to this casting for, it's such a white store. I have to explain it though. I don't know if y'all have it anywhere else, because I don't know if you actually do. We have a Cabela's. It's a hunting store. And so, yeah, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
said that once, and someone looked at me like I was insane. I'm like, I have to approach that differently now when I say that. We have a Cabela's, and I went to the modeling casting for Cabela's because they wanted me to, like, someone to model off some jackets that they had, and I did, and I went, and let me tell you, it was a very eye-opening moment where I learned what the bottom was. I saw so many girls in there that were anorexic. That was a very scary audition to go to. And I remember it was probably the first time I sat there nervous, because I always thought, you know, I got this. I'm good. I got this. And it was the first time I went to an audition where all the girls were anorexic, taller than me, thinner than me. And you could just see in their bodies, they all have crop tops. You know, you could see just how anorexic they looked.
Wow.
And I remember this girl was taller than me. She ran out of the room crying, just sobbing. And so this lady came out. She's like, "Hey, your turn. Come here." And I was like, "Ah!" And I walked in there. And this is the moment I'm thinking, I'm going to die. This is where I die. I'm just like, I'm screwed. And so I walked in there with my audition outfit, my modeling portfolio, and I walked in there just like a badass. I thought, you know, I got this. And I walked in there, and she told me, "Oh, this is what I want you to do. You got 30 seconds. Go." And I did the audition. I did my best. And she stopped me halfway through the audition, and she said, "Stop what you're doing." And I stopped, obviously. And so she said, "Who told you you could model?" And so I was like, "Ooh, you got a Simon Cowell. Shit. I didn't realize you were on the wrong side of the bed. I'm sorry." And so I was I wasn't even crying. I was just stunned. I'm like, "Ooh." And so she said, "You are so ugly." She said, and I was the only black girl in the room.
Damn.
She's like, "You are hideous." She's like, "You need to get surgery for this and that." She's like, who said you could do that?
Jesus Christ. You
I know,
gotta
and
have
I
nerves
sat
of
there,
steel to
and
be
I
in
was
that
trying very
industry.
hard.
God damn.
I almost probably looked shocked. I didn't laugh, but I wasn't crying. I just kind of sat there, just kind of stunned. I'm like, "Ooh, okay." And so she said, "You're doing everything wrong." She said, "Whoever told you could model," and I told her who told me. I said, "You know, this is the other casting agent." She said, "Well, they need to be fired because they don't know what they're doing." And so she handed me my modeling portfolio, and she said, "Get out." And so I was like, "Ooh." And so I walked.
Nah, my trunk would have
remember,
opened accidentally.
I walked out of the casting, and what was so funny about it was that I remember walking out there feeling so happy. I was singing, and my family went with me because they had to give me a ride because I was so young at the time. And they saw all these girls crying when they came on. They saw me just so happy when I came out, just hanging out. And so they're like, "What the hell is wrong with you? You should be crying like the rest of them." And I said, "You know what? I don't care. She don't know shit." So
Right.
I'm like, I'm fine. And so
Right. I mean, she probably be a
And
terrible
guess
to
who's
work
going
for.
to New York? You. So
yeah.
you must be doing.
So I think that's
Right.
what I learned. You know, at 15, I'm like, you know, I've done some fashion weeks at this point. At 15, I'm like, she don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And so I've taken that stride. I've worked with it. I'm trying to represent, you know, petite girls, and especially women of color, especially, you know, with how small the majority is where I'm at. And so it's really cool to take different titles, and I'm starting to gain that, and to have different news articles and things to show that it can be done. Like, you can do it. It just kind of depends on how seriously you take it.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. I mean, I think it can apply to any career. If you want to be an actor or a podcaster or a musician, or even just a doctor.
Yeah.
I think it can apply to any job. I think you have to stop at some point, and you and I do it. You have to get to a point where you have to stop caring.
Yeah.
If you start listening to everything everyone is saying, you can't please everybody. So there has to come to a point where you say, I don't, why the hell do I care? The only person that should matter is how I feel. And so because of that, if I'm the one putting the hard work, I'm the one going to all these auditions, I'm the one working late at night to do this, then none of this should matter. And so, anyway, I just want you guys to know, y'all have done great, because I know it's rough, so I applaud you for it.
But I just feel like your story needs to be like a movie or something, or like
hey, yo, I ain't that cool yet. Don't do
that. Like that. I don't think people realize like the level of like people, like I make music and stuff like that, and people don't realize like how hard it is to just even get on stage. I couldn't imagine like being on stage and somebody gets to tell me I'm ugly too. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you ugly,
bro.
You know
right?
Like,
just
like,
booing you.
Bro.
You're ugly. Get off the stage.
That's crazy to me. Like, I don't know. That's a whole different level of perseverance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's like emotional damage.
So,
like,
I would have
Right.
gave up after.
I remember that meme, emotional damage. I'm just like, I saw that meme the other day, and that's how I felt internally. I'm like, ooh, that's some emotional damage. Like, ow, that hurt. Yeah, that's fun. I remember that. So
You're definitely strong.
Whenever I end up hearing that, that's what I think.
What you got, B?
No, I was saying you definitely strong, because I'd have gave up after the whole I bet you ball under there thing. Yeah,
oh God!
Been my
speaking of that,
favorite,
like,
dog, for real.
it's like, so you had like some microaggressions thrown at you, obviously from people who didn't mean it. Who the fuck is that? I'm sorry, but. Oh, okay. I was anyway, like, so you had some microaggressions thrown at you from people who were just ignorant. Like, was there anybody like racist towards you, like on purpose? Hey, what up, Oreo?
Oh, he's cute. Oreo.
Dog, man.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh no, was there anybody that was just racist towards you, like on purpose? Like they knew they were being racist. Like they was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Obviously, I think
like
with being people of color, I think that naturally just happens. I mean, people tell you, if essentially, if you're white, they think, oh, that's not a thing. It's a thing because it's all white here, so it's a thing. It happens. And obviously, I think I can be like any other person of color. I've had people that have called me the N-word. I've had people, cops that have not been very nice to me, and so it's a very different experience. I remember, not that I'm gonna say it, but I remember this dude had tried to ask me out at a store, and I think I was 18. I think it was so a little while ago, and I remember he kept trying to ask me out. I was like, bro, I ain't interested. Stop. I'm not interested. Stop. And I remember he just blew up, just lost his mind at the store, lost it. And he's like, you dirty. And I was like,
oh, wow.
oh. Damn.
Emotional damage.
It's like, well, did your specialist reject you? Call her a name.
I know. I was like,
oh.
And so I sat there and I was like, yo, I don't know what your problem is. But I was like, I ain't interested. So I was like, you need to take your ghetto ass somewhere. I don't do that.
Jesus.
And he said, oh, how about you take your other friends and go back to Africa where you came from?
Oh, wow. You
Whoa.
hurt that man's feelings. That man was
Bruh, that man,
Yeah. Whoever ended up
that
dating
he
him
probably
is
them
did,
gay.
Mor-
yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
them
So I just
Mormons,
want
them Mormons get real wild when you don't want to be their fifth wife, yo. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Trippy.
and so
Trippy.
I remember kind of leaving and started thinking,
Get your
oh,
outfit.
he's got some like small dick energy going on. Like, oh, he's sad about
Mm.
somebody hurt him. Oh, it wasn't me though.
You know what?
it wasn't me
No,
though.
it's
Yeah, he
because
was already
it's
hurt.
because
Like
they
to be
can't
doing
have
all
no
that.
caffeine down there. That's why they be going crazy.
There's no caffeine in Utah? What the heck?
Nah, the Mormons can't drink no caffeine.
No, Mormons can't
That's
have it.
why.
Yo, y'all be having the craziest SOS facts of all time.
his Mormon underwear got in a bunch. Oh my God, that's wild. As
Bro, that's
I'd have been
crazy.
afraid. Honestly, I'd have been running out that
That's
store.
wild.
Like,
So do you and the
sheesh.
family stay in Utah if things take another level? Do you move to New York? Do you move to LA?
No, we're thinking about moving, and so we're gonna try and move here in the next couple months out of state. So we haven't, really picked where, but somewhere that's way more easier. So it's been a obviously very big conclusion that being in this place of not being around more people of color it's healthy, and I need more of that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, in the next 4 or 5 months, I'm gonna move. I'm getting done. I'm gonna get through the holidays, get through, with winter, January, February, kind of get through the cold, and then I'm gonna try and pick up and leave, and so kind of move somewhere where I can actually function. So.
Right. Man, I wish you all the best.
What's region wise?
Oh, what'd you say, Tessa?
Oh no, I was wondering like which region? Like West Coast, like South, Northeast.
I was originally gonna move to Georgia but that kind of didn't pan out very well. I love Georgia. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Thank you. Our Lord and Savior, Governor Kemp, thinks
I
he was
liked it. I was just there I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was just there, and so I stayed there for a bit. It was fun, but yeah, I think we're kind of aiming for hotter weather, just somewhere where I hate winter. I can't stand it. So yeah, I'm so that's why I wanted Georgia. I'm like, it's warm here, it's decent. I can do this. I don't do 12 inches of snow. No more of this.
Oh, Utah is cold. I didn't know that. I don't know why.
It's freezing. I hate it here. It's like Colorado, dude. During the winter, it's freezing. It hurts. It hurts my soul. Like internally, it hurts. My soul hurts. It hurts.
What was that Cat Williams joke about Chicago? It's like
the
wind blows like something.
But like, what is it? Is there like places that like I don't know how to phrase it. Like is the market saturated some places like in terms of like with your modeling career? Like is that like a factor too in terms of like moving?
For me, it's not, because I would say yes to that if I was tall. There's so many tall models. It's ridiculous. So for me, because I'm short and I have a very unique trait that's making me stand out, and with the success I'm having to that and the titles I'm going to be taking, it's not saturated, because you don't really find petite girls. And so that is something, a concern I had. But yeah, not anymore. I'm good. I'm solid. I got this. I'm good.
Well, I don't want Zuckerberg to kick us out of here, man. You want to give us any shout outs? Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
My
Go ahead.
No, they cut us off once we get close to the hour. So I was saying, did you want to shout anybody out, like an agency or any friends or family or anything like that?
I think the only thing I have to say is fans, especially y'all, have put me through some shit. Seriously, y'all have made it rough for me, but I appreciate you guys have done very good for me. You guys are so helpful, even though it can be some buttholes sometimes. It's okay.
I did want to ask before I let you go. Hopefully, we can make it quick. How did we get the interview? You got 100,000 followers. I'm like, how the heck did we even pierce through The DMs.
I was wondering that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So none of y'all know.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, I know I reached out to you, but I'm like, what made you say, hey, I'll do it? You know what I mean?
I like working with small creators. I feel like big companies can be a bunch of buttholes and they don't make a time of day for anybody. So
Yeah.
whenever I see
cool.
companies that don't have a time of day for anybody, but small creators, they just want a chance. And so I think that's what's so cool is I love working with small creators that they just want to get ahead like everybody else. So I didn't mind saying yes. I'm like, hell yeah, well, let's do it.
Word. That's what's up. I'm trying to figure out like the sauce
Oh,
to get
thank you
like,
so
you know what I
much.
mean? So that's why I needed that little input there as to, you know, how we were able to get this interview, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but we definitely appreciate it though. It was definitely great talking to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. It's been so fun. Y'all are fun. Y'all should have me back anytime. This is fun.
Oh yeah, we will for sure.
Hey,
Oh,
We
every
want to hear
once in a
about
while.
New York and LA
please.
when you get back.
Yeah, when I get back in
Exactly.
February, end of February, you guys hit me up and we'll have a conversation about all Breona and all the cool people I meet.
Word,
Hey,
that's what's
that's
up.
what's up.
Uh,
Yeah,
Oh,
Hey, we're gonna hold you to that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I
All
see.
right,
I
man.
got it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be posting the shit out of it, and I'll make a good name for it. I'll make you look good when I get back.
Word. That's what's up.
Hey, that's what's
All
up.
right, man. Keep up the Black Girl Magic, and man, good luck with everything.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for everyone that came and watched. I love it and I appreciate it.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody, make sure
Like and
y'all follow
subscribe.
all the pages. Make sure y'all hit the YouTube channel. This interview will be posted there. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next Wednesday at 8. Peace, y'all.
Peace.